Hello, I'm Nathaniel Smith, and today I'm going to go over the best episodes of the 10th Doctor. Now, the last time I did a video, I did one on the best of the 9th Doctor, and the very interesting thing about going over the best of the 9th Doctor is the fact that the 9th Doctor, he has basically the strongest season of all of New Who, all the New Who that we've had in the last 10 or 11 years now, which is very interesting for an overall season, mainly because of this. He has the strongest quality of excellent episodes in one season overall of all the other Doctors in their separate seasons. But even though that is the case, the 10th Doctor actually has the most excellent episodes. They're just sort of scattered in 3 seasons and little side things here and there. And for today, obviously, I'm going to go over the best of the 10th Doctor, starting with the impossible planet Satan Pit. I have no idea why Season 2 is so remembered for very stupid, shitty stories, like Love and Monsters, like Season 2's finale, like that Girl in the Fireplace crap. And yet, the greatest story of Season 2, the impossible planet Satan Pit, is forgotten. Why? Just, you do understand that this story is about a planet underneath a black hole. Don't worry, it's all logically explained why, and resolved logically. Yeah, and it's just a fantastic idea that's really well balanced, and just amazing. It's an amazingly good story. And to top it off, guess what? The Doctor only pulls out the sonic screwdriver at the very beginning of the episode, but he doesn't use it. And that's the only time you see the sonic screwdriver in that whole story. The rest of the story, he does not use a sonic screwdriver or a psychic paper in the entire story. So, getting back to my point, why is this story forgotten? I don't get it. I mean, this story, it uses the religious aspects about the devil and so forth, being about that. But the way they go about it is as an original, refreshing story and a beautiful balance of classic Doctor Who based under Siege format and, the mythology of maybe not mythology is not the right word, but, what we know of the actual devil. And it's very fascinatingly done and beautifully done. It's brilliantly done. It's terrifying. It's gorgeous. Even the instrumental music is some of the best that New Who has had in instrumental music. Oh my, man, the Impossible at St. Pit is fucking awesome, and the fact that no one recognizes it is insane. It is by far the best story of all season 2, hands down. I mean, it may be my opinion, but yeah, that's literally what I think it is. I mean, I think The Impossible at St. Pit is the best story of all season 2, and should be much more looked into than crap like Doomsday. Anyways, moving on to the next season, the best story of season 3 from the 10th Doctor is none other than Smith and Jones. Now, how do I go with this? Now, for season 3, the best story is Smith and Jones, which I know isn't maybe the most scary story, but let me explain. In season 1, Davies captured basically aliens being characters very well in The End of the World. One of the things Davies really wanted to do a lot of was basically have Doctor Who sort of be fun, semi-campy / cool sci-fi action adventures, but a lot of the times it just failed and became kind of cliche and trite. That is with the exception of Smith and Jones. Smith and Jones nails that fun sci-fi adventure perfectly well, mainly because it's not like an alien invasion story. And also because they're on the fucking moon. It's the moon! Come on! How could you not like a story on the moon? And it's so well handled and done that the story of Smith and Jones, because the whole idea is basically have these alien rhino police for hire that are basically judge, jury, and executioner searching for an alien criminal that's hiding on Earth, and basically they suck and teleport an entire hospital to the moon to basically interrogate the hospital because they know the alien is in the hospital, and the alien is blood-sucking alien, and it dissimulates blood so it's disguised as human. Yeah, this story is awesome. I mean, it's creative, it's imaginative, it's well handled. Um, yeah, it's a great story. Also, believe it or not, Smith and Jones really highlights Martha Jones as a companion. Now, I know a lot of people dislike Martha Jones, and I can understand, and I didn't care much for Martha Jones, nor Rose as much, but the thing I do want to point out is that Martha Jones could have been a good companion. Because in the case of this story, in a story I'll mention later on, she's just highlighted as, a non-romantic companion for the most part. I mean, yeah, there is this kiss in Smith and Jones. It's the only one that I mentioned where the Doctor kisses someone. The one in Impossible Planet St. Pitt doesn't count because Rose didn't really kiss the Doctor on the lips. And he basically kissed him on the forehead while wearing a helmet, and that ain't worth getting in an uproar about. I mean, I can understand Doctor, kissing on the lips, but when it's something like the forehead, big deal. Anyways, I mean that sarcastically when I say big deal there, but moving on. The point is, Smith and Jones captures that fun sci-fi action adventure really quite well without being stupid, like having something like the Slitheen about and another alien invasion again. There was way too many alien invasions. Anyways, Smith and Jones. Also, for the next season, season 4, the best story of that season is Midnight. Oh man, Midnight. It's just interesting because although Davies wrote a lot of rubbish, mainly because he wrote like 7 episodes a season out of a 13 episode season. I mean, yeah, something like that. It's amazing that he actually wrote one good story each of his seasons, except for like season 2. But thankfully, we have that other writer, Matt Jones, who wrote The Impossible Planet St. Pitt, to make up for that. Thank God. But yeah. Anyways, I've mentioned before, the end of the world, Davies captured aliens as real characters and not just villains. And Smith and Jones captures the whole basically just sci-fi action adventure really well. Also has some ironic elements because of the Space Rhino Police and how that's really actually well handled in a way. And strangely, it has some thought put into it. Anyways, and last but not least is Midnight, which is not only one of the scariest stories of New Who, just Doctor Who in general probably, one of many, but also it's the fact that it is morally brilliant as well. It has such a moral message, but without being preachy. It's not preachy. It's not one-sided on an issue. It's just, we're going to let this creepy, scary-ass monster enter this tourist attraction that we happen to be in, or tourist, vehicle that's trying to take us to an attraction. And this monster is just going to come in and basically going to scare people shitless, and they're going to go out of their minds and let the fear of the unknown grasp them. It is just so awesome. It's so brilliant. And the way they use something that you would think is so silly and absurd, copying someone's voice and just, re-saying what someone says. You'd think that'd be silly, that'd be laughable. But it's so fucking scary in the way it's done in context to Midnight. It's a brilliant piece of science fiction. It's totally on par with the original series, and it's sadly overlooked. I mean, it is without a doubt the best story of all season 4. Hands down, really. It's a piece of genius, and should be more recognized for it. So yeah. Now, there is a couple other things I do want to mention about the 10th Doctor's era that I think are really good. That kind of get overlooked. The first is the Infinite Quest. Now, this is basically an animated adventure that the Doctor had. I forget how it was done or released, but it is around. They do have a DVD for it, and the Infinite Quest is awesome. It's a fantastic story, fantastic characters, tons of great, imaginative, brilliant ideas. All of it's on a bunch of brilliant, different alien planets. Um, excuse me. The only thing is, the animation's not the best per se. Um, yeah, the animation's, I guess, kind of crude, but all the more ironic for it because it's a lot like some Classic Who, where fantastic stories and fantastic characters and everything, and yet they didn't necessarily always have the best special effects. So the Infinity Quest is in a way a lot more like Classic Who than a lot of New Who is in a weird way. Not to mention the structure of the Infinity Quest is very much in the way like the Keys of Marinus were, or the what was it, the Keys of Time, I think it was. That Fourth Doctor season arc, season they did. Just like how the End of Time has its sort of opposite own original take on sort of the Curse of Peladon aspect of all these different people getting killed off trying to figure out what happened. Just like Midnight has the opposite inspiration and originality from the Brig of Disaster, Edge of Destruction, classic William Hartnell story. Yeah, there's quite a bit there. It's all very awesome. And yeah, Infinite Quest, awesome. The other thing is a Sarah Jane adventure that I will mention, and that's The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. Now, with The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, it is a romantic story. It does have drama in it, and yes, the title is a bit cringeworthy, but hear me out. First off, let me just let you know that basically all the romance and drama in The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith is with Sarah Jane and other people. The Doctor is not involved in the story in a romantic or dramatic way, except for basically the 10th Doctor's goodbye to Sarah Jane, which is beautifully handled and done. Actually, is way better done in The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith than The End of Time. Kind of funny that is. But anyways, the reason why I highlight The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith is because this is really the story where the 10th Doctor and Sarah Jane work beautifully well together. Mainly because of the ideas in the story. Like, let me go over the story. Warning, there'll be maybe a bit of spoilers here, but just hear me out. So the first episode, like I said, there's the romance slash, getting married aspect that does happen in the story of The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, mainly all in the first episode. And although it's there, the beauty of it is thanks to its like short format of like 20 some minutes, that it goes by at a very lightning pace. And on top of that, you have these beautiful, intricate mystery slash sci-fi elements to tie into it very well. For example, throughout the story, you'll hear the TARDIS grinding, trying to land on the where Sarah Jane's at. Essentially, you hear in the background all the time. It keeps trying, and then it fades. It's very beautifully and subtly done. Then on top of that, you have the wedding ring that Sarah Jane wears, that basically has some mechanical mechanism to it that hypnotizes Sarah Jane to do things that, or believe things that she didn't know. And then on top of that, there is the aspect of the mysterious mechanical laughing. And then there's also the mystery of the house that was left alone and sort of abandoned. It's in context of the story. All this is resolved and explained by the second episode. I'm just pointing out that all these elements are there in just this like 25-minute time frame. And all pretty well handled, even in context with the romantical and dramatical stuff. And also there's the cliffhanger, which I won't reveal too much, but is really awesome, especially when it's revealed who's behind it all. And let's just say it's one of Sarah Jane's best villains that's involved in this story. And then the second episode, okay, I will say this much about the second episode. The second episode, basically, the Doctor and Sarah Jane's companions, as well as Sarah Jane and the other bloke that she was going to marry, not the Doctor again, basically get trapped in different seconds of time. Yes, they're trapped in a second of time. It's so beautifully and geniusly done, and the way that they designed it in such a subtle way is beautiful, and just like classic Doctor Who. Just like when they do that cliffhanger at the end of the first episode, it feels like a classic Who episode because of that, because of the way it's formatted, so much like a classic Who story. So, yeah, The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith is an awesome story. It is very creative and wonderful. And even though it does have a lot of romance and dramatic elements, because it's with Sarah Jane and another bloke, it works extremely well. And the story is so cohesively coherent and logically well handled. Now, even though those romantic elements are there, it's just all beautifully done. And Sarah Jane and the Doctor, the 10th Doctor, finally get a story that they work so well in, because School Reunion was just terrible and screwed up continuity. And the other one, which was what was it, season 4's finale, it was just trying to be too big and epic and rushed and a mess. So yeah, if you want to see a great story with the 10th Doctor and Sarah Jane together, watch The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. Even if you're just going to skip to the second episode, you can do that. So it's an awesome story. Check it out. And there you go, the best episodes of the 10th Doctor. And now I get to go over the best episodes of the 11th.